Welcome to the International Luxury Hotel Association's webinar series, where top hotel owners, operators, developers, suppliers, and brands connect to shape the future of luxury hospitality. For over 15 years, the ILHA has been the most influential association in the industry, with global chapters and the largest hospitality network on LinkedIn, 500,000 members strong. Our flagship event, Inspire, is the leading luxury hospitality conference in Europe and the US, where decision-makers network, share insights, and get deals done. Visit us at ilha.org.
In hospitality, every moment matters. From the second a guest books their stay until they check out, Honeywell removes the guesswork, empowering you with automation tools that elevate every stay. Predict issues before they occur. Optimize energy without compromising comfort. Keep security invisible, yet ever present. Make informed decisions, take smarter actions, and create more memorable experiences with Honeywell.
Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Greg McGrath. I am the Global Account Director for Honeywell Hospitality. I'd like to welcome you to the webinar today, presented by the International Luxury Hotels Association on Smart Luxury, Advancing Technology for Energy Management and Operational Efficiency. Today's webinar is brought to you by Honeywell Hospitality. Today with me, I have three different speakers, all three with extensive industry knowledge. First off, I'd like to introduce Michael Maxwell. We'll refer to him as Max since we have a few mics on the panel today. Michael is the Senior Director of Digital Property Operations and Engineering for Hilton Worldwide. Next, we have Mike Hyman. He is the Senior Vice President of Facilities for Fontainebleau Las Vegas. And we also have Craig Henriksen. He is the Director of Offering Management for Onity, a Honeywell hospitality brand. So let's get started with today's discussion. So first off, how can aging luxury properties integrate with smart systems without compromising their historical or aesthetic charms? Can you share specific examples of where this has been done successfully? Michael Maxwell, I'll turn the question over to you. I know you've got a large portfolio with Hilton. Any examples of luxury properties that have integrated to smart systems?
Yeah, we've got one some may have heard of, the Waldorf Astoria in New York City that's opening back up and gone through some considerable updates to technology in the lock space, as well as a lot of the other touches they've put into the property. One of the main things with any technology, it's the infrastructure and the backbone that you make sure you can't future-proof, but you can do as much as you can to prevent backing yourselves into a corner, sticking with industry standards, getting up to the latest specs, making sure you're looking at what the common products and features and securities are out there. And so with that, we've done a lot of back of house features where we could streamline a lot of the energy management system is used as the conduit. Not getting into any brands, but it's similar in most cases. The energy management system will talk to the other technological systems to convey whether there's low batteries at the door, whether a door is open or ajar, whether we need to move rooms, whether the room is vacant, so we can get housekeeping in there to turn that room over, get it cleaner so that our schedules are more efficient. So I think in most cases, that is one of the best things you can do from a luxury standpoint is anticipating needs and answering needs, get it before as quickly as possible using these systems. And the energy management system a lot of time is the hub to a lot of the other systems within the room from a communication standpoint. So that's the in the room. Outside of that, refreshing, always working on your network and your infrastructure to make sure you're up to spec.
I guess that brings the next question up. When you're looking at these buildings, a lot of times you're working with concrete walls, whatever the case may be, bomb-proof for the Waldorf Astoria there in New York that hosted many presidents. What's some of the key features that you look for when you're looking at technology in order to upgrade a property such as that?
Redundancy on systems, and then also you don't like to admit it, but there's always going to be downtime and emergencies, and how do those systems operate in those downtimes? How can they bridge the gap between being down and back up, not losing information, being able to operate offline? In a lot of cases with what I work with, a lot of these things are hardwired and not necessarily IoT or wired. But you need to make sure that you've got visibility and resiliency so that when these things go down, in addition to updates, the ability to update equipment is far more important than the physical attributes of equipment these days. Most of these features have gone from pieces of hardware to pieces of IT. And in the industry now, we've got to make sure that that's understood, not just as us as a hotel group and an IT group at Hilton, but as owners of properties and managers of properties and how they treat those.
Definitely appreciate that. And Mike Hyman, in your experience, I know we've worked together on a few different projects, so I appreciate you being here today with us. What have you seen and what have you done in spaces such as these where you are working on a luxury older property that may not be conducive to the latest technology? How would you go about making sure that it?
Yeah, great question, Greg. So the first thing is we want to look at what kind of technology do we want to implement within the facility itself. Once that's understood, we go and we identify those type of items that we will install, and we work with the internal teams to implement those items to ensure that we have the latest and greatest technology within the environment that we can offer to our guests.
Perfect. Thank you. So the next question is, it's always top of mind for everybody, and that's return on investment. So when you look at these technologies that we're implementing, we don't just want to elevate the guest experience, but we also want to be able to, as owners, operators, be able to have some sort of return on our investment that we're putting into these systems. So what kind of return on investment can these luxury properties expect when they implement these automated systems with elevated technology? And how quickly do we typically see those returns, and where do they come from? And Mike Hyman, I'll turn this one over to you. What's the general ROI expectancy on luxury systems?
Well, thank you, Greg. So first off, what's nice, especially if you're integrating technology into an older building, there's huge ROI opportunities when it comes to installing these type of systems. One thing that's also interesting to note is there's also rebates depending on the environment that you're in, what the city. There's all different types of programs that are out there where you can get really significant rebates that really maximize the return. And both you can get the rebate that helps make the ROI more palatable, but also the hard utility cost savings that you would see with the implementation of this technology. And with the advancement of technology, especially when implementing in older buildings, it's moving so fast. And what's also great about it is the consumer themselves, they're very savvy to new technology. And what's nice is the technology that's out there is very user friendly, especially in a luxury environment, as here at Fontainebleau. We're able to utilize technology with upscale luxury.
Yeah. And one of the questions that I always have, and Michael Maxwell, I'll turn this one over to you. When you look at the ROI, do you guys ever take into account the soft costs as well? For example, the employee costs, the way that you can be able to smartly identify a room when it's down, or a technology piece, a TV when it's not working. I guess speak to that a little bit.
Yes, you've got a couple things that work to your advantage with systems like this. I'll start with kind of one of the main areas of focus that I have with the locks, digital key, plastic key, and the feature functionalities of those, and making sure they're up and running accurately. When you have an online system, you can identify if there's a problem or a lot of the problems with the lock before a guest experiences that. You can see if it's a low battery. You can see if for whatever reason there's a programming glitch and it's not reflecting the right room number from your system. There's lots of things that communication, basically having an online and I'm talking about a lock specifically here, but having an online lock affords you, from a maintenance standpoint, to focus your efforts on the pain points as efficiently as you can. Then on the other side of that, I mean, when you're talking about luxury properties, we're talking about a client base. Finger pointed at myself just as much as anybody else. When we stay there, we kind of look for, can I stay a little later? Can I get in a little earlier? Can I do this? Well, if you have some of the features like the housekeeping, I can tell you definitely, yes, I have a room that's being cleaned right now, or I'm not having to guess when people leave. I can track in and out to a larger degree than I can with any other, so that I can have a room available, or I know I've got rooms available so this person can stay later. And you can do some of those, you know, what's come to be expected at luxury. It frees up your individuals to do luxury type service and not maintenance, if you will, or it allows to make sure the maintenance is behind the curtain where we want it to be.
I recently stayed at a property where I was doing a convention. There was a convention in town, and I was in and out of my room going down. It was pretty hot, so I would go down and I'd have to come back up and refresh myself every now and again. And I would put my room into makeup room. And it was very nice that the property had the ability to, as I left the room, I could press the button. And as I returned to the room, my room was completely clean. I was ready to go. And to me, that was an elevated touch that allowed me, who was running crazy around the building, to be able to return to my room at any time and know that I could be able to get a fresh start and move on to the next meeting. Craig, I'll turn the same question over to you. From your perspective, what type of return and how long before these properties realize returns on smart systems and implementing the advanced technology into these hotel rooms?
Yeah, actually, one of the words I'll key on here is implementation. And as you start thinking about smart systems, smart technologies, so much of the success depends on implementation. And I'll give one example that came up earlier was energy management systems. And we've done some studies around this too, which is the difference between, say, installing an energy management system that's a standalone for a room versus a fully networked one, and where you can see dramatic differences. Yes, you get gains by just adding an energy management system as a standalone in-room unit. As you start connecting them, which is some incremental work, but not a huge difference, suddenly you can get double-digit difference in terms of energy savings that are very measurable. In fact, we've done some case studies there. One of them was with a Hilton, and you can measure those things very clearly with third parties to look at the actual energy gains, and those are those types of things that, thinking from a system perspective, and too often we tend to say, hey, it's time to update my locks. I'll go buy some new locks. Or, hey, I need to update my IoT network, and I'll focus just on that one piece. But from an implementation and a thought process, is thinking about it from a system perspective can uncover measurable gains. And I'll give one example is since Michael Maxwell mentioned connected locks, is there's a perception that this requires a ton of new equipment and a lot of effort to implement these things. In many cases, the capability, the ability to collect useful data that can inform the maintenance schedules and things like that already exists. You might actually already have locks that are capable of it, but you didn't have that wireless connection to your network. So maybe as you're updating that network to bring it up to modern capabilities, if you think about it from a system perspective, oh, hey, is this compatible with the locks that I have? You might be unlock or uncover additional gains that maybe you wouldn't have thought about if you were just kind of myopically focused on one piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, no, you're perfectly right. And so what are some of the benefits that you all see with integrating your HVAC, your lighting, your security, guest services, and all those technologies into a single connected ecosystem? And if you do have examples, can you share a case study where this has worked out or where this has boosted some sort of operational efficiency? Michael Maxwell, I'll turn that one over to you.
Yeah, and I'll speak from my area, from corporate support and product support, one of the things that we see specifically is from a monitoring standpoint, it kind of narrows down our variables. You talk about Craig mentioned a great thing about uh, you may have this capability. You've just not connected the dots with equipment you already have to a large degree. That's kind of the point. The energy management system is they've done the work and put the infrastructure in place. And if you work with other tools that work with that energy management company, you can leverage that to, manage costs, manage efficiencies. And then from a support standpoint, you've got some nice, clean monitoring everything comes down to network. Is the network open and is it secure? Whether it's internal or for our guests. And I can tell you from a luxury standpoint, you can have champagne in the room and free massages, but if their guest Wi-Fi goes down, you are not getting rated properly when they leave. So it kind of starts there, but leveraging what you have, leveraging the tools you have, and finding systems that can be integrated and work together to streamline efficiency and make it much easier to maintain from a support standpoint.
Mike Hyman, I know you and I recently did a project there at your beautiful property at the Fontainebleau. Full HVAC, lighting, guest services, everything on a single pane of glass. What have you seen as far as operational efficiencies? Have you seen operational efficiencies? Have you not? What has that done for you and your organization?
Yeah, absolutely. And to touch on that, Greg, the environment is very stable. I think one thing that is important to share is as we've all evolved in our experiences with technology, the technology itself has evolved. And so in the past, it's been known to pose certain concerns or it could be problematic. And now in modern day, as long as the network's strong and good IT support, the system's very, very stable. And just in general, just having back to your comment that Michael was touching on, that the standard ecosystem, just having a dashboard, where we can see everything in real time that is integrated into that dashboard. So if you can imagine just having the ability to know that that guest's AC unit is not working before that guest, like you had said, Greg, you come back to your room and you just want it to be right. You got to get your thoughts back together and get back out there. Well, with advancements in technology, we can make sure that that occurs. We can make that right. And there's alarms that could go off. There's awareness. And I think one of the biggest takeaways for me is that you don't need a large team to be managing dashboards. The system, the integration, the ability for it to self-function and make you aware, that technology exists. And then the byproduct is energy savings, reliability, guest comfort, all the things that us in our industry we're trying to obtain occur with these type of advancements and improvements.
Yeah, and I always tell properties when I'm speaking to them, what you're looking for is that guest experience. And with the guest experience comes an elevated ADR, an increased revenue, the ability to respond to your hotel or to your guests in a way that they deserve to be responded to, which is to be able to get to their room whenever they need to and to have everything just work. Wi-Fi networks, TVs, lighting, they're necessary. They have to work when you get there. So the next question is, how can luxury hotels market their sustainability achievements? And again, we all talk about sustainability. We all say we've got sustainability goals and we're going to reach them by this year. How can we help hoteliers and properties be able to market their sustainability goals and show that we're making advances to getting there, especially with these invisible technologies that are all working behind the scenes. And again, ultimately without compromising the premium positioning of these luxury hotels. Michael Maxwell, I'll turn that one over to you.
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of things that people don't realize that technology does. I'll focus on one of my areas, which is a digital or mobile key, which, Oddity and all of our partners have at this point. And I think just on an annual basis, I think I want to say it's 8 tons of plastic key cards. So I'm going to say 8 tons of plastic key cards that are not used every year because of guests using digital keys instead. So, that's one step towards that. Even bamboo key cards that a lot of properties, some of our lifestyle brands are using, very recyclable. You get that, obviously, the energy management. Anytime you're more efficiently using the energy within the property, you're lowering your carbon footprint and becoming a better steward. Any of the non-tech stuff, like, refillable, soap and shampoo dispensers, you've got a lot of that. But from a technology standpoint, a lot of this really helps you minimize the number of materials and minimize the number of resource wastefulness, if you will, whether it's plastic cards, whether it's air conditioning or heating running in empty rooms for weeks on end, or whatever the case may be.
Sure. And Mike Hyman, I know with your project, with your property that you're at specifically right now, it is a large property with 3,700 guest rooms. So very, very large. I assume that there is some energy saving, some sustainability things that you guys are doing. Would you mind speaking to how you guys are tracking that and what impact that has made on not only the guests, but also on saving the environment?
Yeah, Greg. So sustainability should be at the forefront of all of our minds, especially with technology. It really helps us all evolve. Here at Fontainebleau, specifically, we obtained what's considered 3 green globes, which is a rating, an energy rating, and we're very proud of that. But it doesn't stop there, right? That's what we achieved. Then we got to continue to work hard to maintain that. But then what are we doing to improve upon that, right? So we're constantly looking to fine tune our systems. And one thing I could say, no matter how much you may think you know about your own internal systems that actually already exist, the ability and the technology within those systems are so vast that you always got to continue to challenge yourself, even, and your operators and your team, to say, are you utilizing it to its best ability, the best capability? Because there's always room for advancement, right? And for us, we're a relatively new property here, and we're constantly finding new opportunities to continue to advance. So that's one thing I think that's super important, is just because we got the 3 green globes, just because we're here, just because we're sustainable, just because our carbon footprint the numbers look great, there's always room to grow. And the technology is advancing so fast. And again, back to what I said previously, there's rebate programs out there, there's incentive programs, and it's just, are you aware of them? Do you know what's out there? Whether it's reducing water consumption or energy consumption or whatever that may be, there's great opportunity out there.
Yeah. And it's our industry and where we're at now, it's such an enjoyable and exciting time. I recently worked with a project out in Hawaii, and part of their the entire purpose of the building was to make sure that it seamlessly integrates with the landscape. And that meant energy consumption had to be low. Everything had to be maintained at a baseline standard so that it didn't disrupt the community or the local ecosystem. And I was very proud to be a part of that project because we came in, energy saved, we were able to integrate with the landscape and everything while maintaining a very high-end luxury standard for this property. And this property now, which is a Rosewood property, but it operates at super high efficiency and high occupancy. So it's a gorgeous property, and I'm very excited to be a part of it because it does all those things. And it's a good part to be in our industry now, where we're not just saying we have sustainability or green goals, we're actually implementing them. And I appreciate you, Michael, and you, Mike, for both being a part of that. It is an awesome time to be a part of the industry. So the last question that I have, what emerging technologies should luxury hoteliers start preparing for today to make sure that they remain competitive in a guest-centric environment for the next 5 to 10 years? Craig, I'll turn this one to you first, and then I'll go around the horn to Mike and Michael to close out on it.
Thanks, Greg. I'll mention two that are, I'd say, macro trends in the industry and certainly apply uniquely to hospitality. One is mobile trends. So mobile first, everything's on your phone. So that's the first. The second is AI, and I'll touch on each one. As it comes to mobile, I think there were some good examples given here, which is to say, first of all, everybody's using their phone for everything. They're using it to pay for things. They're using it for, it's just a natural trend. Maybe a few years ago, it would have been, trying to push mobile technologies. At this point, it's a pull from guests. We're all doing it. We're all saying, it doesn't make sense. If I have everything else on my phone, why can't I just use my phone to open my door too, right? So that's a kind of a shift over the last, say, 5 years. And I think, things like wallets and these kinds of ease of use, quality of life improvements to the mobile experience, it's just natural extension to say, hey, whether it's luxury, whatever the application here is, it's just an expectation. And so I think that's something we're all planning for, and the industry just, we're all adapting to that one. So a mobile first technology approach. The second is, I'll say AI, but as it relates to hospitality, it's kind of an extension of, say 10 years ago, everything was big data, right? It's kind of the evolution of big data, which is to say, that was the buzzword for a while. Then everybody realized, I got all this data, I don't know what to do with it, right? And so AI is kind of the natural extension of that, to say is, we need technologies that improve or ease our operations, not make it more complicated. So anything that's getting in the way, I'll give some of the examples we talked about earlier is locks, for example. If we're, we have this data that tells us how they're being used and battery life and that kind of thing. If I still need to interpret it as an operator or an owner, I probably won't do it. Like if I have to work hard to figure that out, I may not change my behaviors. But if I can do something, me as a provider, to make that really easy to you, to say, hey, we've done some analysis and 10% of your locks are at low battery. We recommend going and sending someone out. This will be an efficient use of labor, and so you don't have to do it one by one. And by the way, we can actually prevent a down room as a result. Okay, now we're talking about something that's really useful and that I can get excited about as an owner and an operator. Right? So it's really about applied AI and applied mobile to help the guest experience and operational efficiency.
Yeah. Going around the horn, Michael Maxwell, how about you for, looking at the next 5 to 10 years? What are you doing now, and how are you preparing your projects, your properties, for any future technology?
Yeah, I think I'm going to continue on kind of what Craig started on one line of thought he had, and I'll say dashboards. I forget who talked about dashboards earlier. A lot of the products, whether it's energy management system, whether it's lock companies, whether it's CRS or PMS, any type of the hospitality programs, what they've done is gotten much better from I'm going to use a different 2-letter acronym, UI, to cut down on training, as we've got a massive turnover and we've just got labor challenges in our marketplace as well as others. But we really see it in the hospitality space, and the turnover is constantly a challenge. So I think AI is assisting our UI to make sure that it's not 2 weeks of training on just our PMS system. It's 2 hours where they can sit down and it's intuitive. They can learn a little bit about it. And it's mainly about logging in, and everything else they can figure out. It's like apps. You don't take a class on how to use an app. This generation just goes into an app and knows how to click around. Surely we can do that with more complex systems. So I think from that standpoint, and then getting to UIs, investing to get everything down to actionable information by the property, rather than putting a bunch of stuff out there and looking for them to try and become an expert in every single system. We've done a great job, it feels like, in the hospitality industry the last 10 to 20 years. It's been like an arms race of technology. We've thrown all this technology out there, to hotel owners or operators with little more than, here's this new product, you should check it every once in a while to make sure it's working. Well, what about a dashboard? Oh, that'd be nice. And I think now we're getting to that. So not only here's how it's performing, here's the categories to worry about, here's the job aid attached that you can look at to mobile, get everything mobile. It's in their pocket walking around. It's not at a workstation. Well, they got to sit down and look it up. The people that are doing the work, make sure the information's accessible, real time, and mobile. That's what we're doing with a lot of our major initiatives now. Is like, let's slow down and make a lot of our stuff more usable. And AI is helping us from the standpoint of analyzing tickets, grouping tickets, putting things in there where we've used plain language in our notes for these support tickets, and takes a little bit more than just download and sort. And so that's why we're getting AI to take, like I say, it's taking knowledge and turning it into actionable knowledge, and then going from there. Sorry, I rambled there for a second, but hopefully that made sense.
No, it makes complete sense, and I 100% agree with you. We've built up such a database of knowledge and of data points from every single little thing. It's exciting to be able to bring it all together. Mike Hyman, for you, what is it that you guys are doing to prepare for the next 5 to 10 years with the technology shifts that are coming up?
Yeah, I want to first give credit to the technology industry in general. I mean, it's advanced so far from at least when I started in my career. I mean, you want to go back, we used to control things with pneumatic air, and then you get into DDC, and now look at how far we've advanced. It's like, and so we're evolving so fast, and I think it's important that we talked about sustainability a little bit. This is a huge platform of conversation to say, if you want to do your part, or if you're doing your part, or if you think you could do more, the tools are out there. What are you doing to sharpen your pencil and really learn about what you can do to improve your own environment, right? And I think it's important in our industry, especially if we want to stay competitive. The consumer is advancing so fast, right? If you look at whether it's in cell phones or in vehicles, or you name it, technology is advancing so fast through all the different means and methods of our own day. And in the hospitality world, especially, if you want to stay competitive, you got to stay cutting edge. And when you're building a new building, or you're thinking about building onto your existing infrastructure, adding additional conduits, or installing fiber, whatever that may be, you really need to think about that, because if you do case studies on just last year, the year before, and you're not evolving those case studies into your future implementation, you're gonna outgrow your building really, really fast, and it will be a lot more costly to add it after the fact if you really are not, top of mind and when you're installing things now.
Yeah, and I think it feels like right now things are evolving just so quickly with the AI things and everything else. So it's necessary to have all these data points in every single hotel to be able to direction with that information wherever the technology is going. So definitely appreciate all of your insights today, guys. It's been very informative. It's been a pleasure to speak with each one of you. To go through this. A special thanks to the International Luxury Hotel Association for allowing us to get together and to talk about this very important topic of advancing technology for energy management and operational efficiency. If you guys do have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Each one of us are on LinkedIn or on any of the socials. Feel free to reach out to us, and we'd be honored to talk to you and help you out anymore. Thank you all so very much.
Meet the hotel industry's biggest leaders at Inspire Luxury Hospitality Conference. Back for its 16th year, Inspire 2025 is held in November in Prague and December in Las Vegas. It's the premier event for luxury hospitality. Land deals, learn strategy, and explore innovation. Visit us at inspire.ilha.org.